Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain TXB and today's the 19th of April 2023, and to be honest, the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies have temporarily pumped up but not by a massive margin. So the price of Bitcoin has once again crossed the $30,000 mark and the price of Ethereum is definitely remaining steady. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens to the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum, particularly over the weekend. Now look guys, there's some massive drama going on regarding SEC Chair Gary Gensler, and we'll definitely go ahead and talk about what Republicans are trying to do in order to remove Gary Gensler from this position. Now really I'm not sure what the future will be, so we'll definitely go ahead and talk about that in today's episode. And guys, the big question which I often talk about in my Crypto and Coffee at 8 podcast is Bitcoin apolitical? Now look guys, you need to truly understand, when Bitcoin was created, the whole idea was to have a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, no central entity responsible. Unfortunately, until and unless there is 100% separation of money and the state, politics and politicians do have a very strong say in the trajectory and direction, and more importantly in the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And I've mentioned it several times in the past guys, Democrats are definitely not in favor of Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies and freedom of speech. Republicans, on the other hand, are definitely in favor of Bitcoin, open source and freedom of speech. So we'll definitely go ahead and talk about that. And because of regulations, or should I say lack of clarity in regulations by the extreme left-leaning administration, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong has actually indicated that he's more than willing to leave United States of America. And to be honest guys, I wouldn't be surprised if other cryptocurrency exchanges and centralized entities plan to do the same. So we'll definitely go ahead and talk about that in today's episode. Now listen guys, when you talk about US politics, the politics is not complete when you talk about the greatest president of all time, that is President Donald Trump. And while there is chaos going on in the cryptocurrency and NFT world, President Donald Trump is on the verge of making NFT great again. And he has dropped his second collection of digital trading cards, and it's no surprise it has done phenomenally well. So we'll definitely go ahead and talk about that in today's episode. And towards the later part of the episode, we'll also go ahead and talk about sweat economy. And there is this new token called a sweat token, which has definitely been on the news. And I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and opinions on that, because there is rumors that what they are planning is to introduce a one-person, one-vote governance system. But based on the news, looks like it is a central entity which is making that decision. And it is a bit bizarre and strange that they're calling themselves as decentralized app. So in today's episode, I'll go ahead and explain what that news is. Now look guys, I'm particularly not a fan of protocols that are working in blockchain space, because historically there have been many such projects, and unfortunately none of them has survived the face of time. And like we do in every Crypto and Coffee at 8 podcast, we're going to be discussing two news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. And the first news is about cryptocurrency exchange called Bybit, and they have opened the global headquarters in Dubai. And I'm pretty much sure guys, I've covered Bybit in the past. So this is an update because they are planning to have the global headquarters in Dubai. So definitely positive news. And the second news guys, which is circulating not just in Dubai, but also in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, is that UAE security regulators, they are starting to accept license application from crypto firms. So we'll definitely go ahead and talk about that in today's episode. So quite a lot to cover in today's episode. So let's kick start with it right away. Welcome to the Crypto and Coffee at 8, the daily podcast that keeps you up to date on all latest developments in the world of cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and NFTs. Join us Monday to Friday as you kick off your day with a cup of coffee and a deep dive into the exciting and rapidly evolving world of digital assets. We'll cover the latest news and trends in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, as well as delve into the growing world of NFTs or non-fungible tokens and Metaverse. Plus, we'll keep you updated on the latest developments from Dubai, UAE and the wider Middle East region. Whether you're a seasoned crypto enthusiast or just getting started, Crypto and Coffee at 8 has something for you. Our expert host will provide insight and analysis on the most important topics in the industry and help you stay up to date on the latest developments. We'll bring you interviews with leading figures in the crypto and blockchain space and explore the ways in which these technologies are changing the world around us, from the impact on traditional financial systems to the potential for revolutionizing industries and transforming societies. We'll cover it all on Crypto and Coffee a Day. So tune in and join us for a daily dose of Crypto and Coffee a Day, and let's stay ahead of the curve together. We'll start your day off right with the most important news and insights from the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain and the Metaverse, and help you navigate this exciting and rapidly evolving landscape. In Crypto and Coffee a Day, the daily podcast covers the latest developments in the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain and the Metaverse. We'll also bring you updates on the latest news from Dubai, UAE and wider Middle East region. This also includes a range of topics such as developments in the local and blockchain industry, including new projects and initiatives, regulatory updates, and policies related to cryptocurrency and blockchain in the region, local and regional events and conferences focused on crypto and blockchain, interviews with leading figures in Dubai, UAE and Middle East crypto and blockchain community, coverage of any significant news or events related to cryptocurrency and blockchain in the region. By covering these local and regional developments, in addition to the wider world of cryptocurrency and blockchain, Crypto and Coffee a Day aims to provide a comprehensive overview of the industry and its impact on the Dubai, UAE and Middle East region. Now before we kickstart today's episode, I have an important message, so check this out. Firstly guys, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race-Pace Podcast. So check out the Race-Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race-Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform and search for Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast. And finally guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now guys, since you've taken care of that, let's kickstart by looking at the global cryptocurrency market. Now since the last 24 hours, it has marginally gone up by 2.03%, and as of today, 19th of April, the global cryptocurrency market stands at $1.28 trillion. Now look guys, the only reason why the global cryptocurrency market probably has crossed the $1 trillion mark is because of the anticipation of the news of Ethereum Shanghai upgrade. Now that thing has already happened, so really I'm not sure what the global cryptocurrency market might be over the weekend. Now the total crypto market volume over the last 24 hours is still ridiculously low at $46.40 billion, and since the last 24 hours, it has marginally gone up by 2.11%. Now the biggest surprising matrix once again guys is that of DeFi. The volume is ridiculously low at $4.43 billion, and it accounts for 9.55% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. This ideally should not be the case. The 24-hour total volume should have ideally been 4 times of what it is, and the total value locked is still about the $50 billion mark thanks to the Ethereum Shanghai upgrade, and it is currently at $53.26 billion, and clearly we have an outlier, that is Lido, and its dominance is 24.06%, and so far as the total value locked is concerned, $12.82 billion is locked in this protocol, followed by MakerDAO with $8.01 billion, Aave at number 3rd at $5.96 billion, Core Finance at number 4 at $4.74 billion, and finally Uniswap at $4.41 billion. And later on, guys, I'm going to be discussing the top decentralized apps on the Ethereum protocol, and it's absolutely no surprise that 3 of them have to do with Uniswap. So we'll definitely go to look at that. Now before that, let's look at the volume of stable coins. And once again, guys, the volume of stable coins is ridiculously low at $41.85 billion, and it still accounts for 90.20% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. And later on, guys, I'm going to be discussing Representative Tom Emmer, who's definitely not a fan of regulations, and he's definitely very pro-Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And during that hearing, he did talk about the volume of stable coins. Now, based on what I was listening to, I really am not sure if he does understand the volume of stable coins, because at one point of time, he did actually state that the volume of stable coins is not that high. Unfortunately, I do like Representative Tom Emmer because he's not a massive fan of central bank digital currencies. I really do feel that he's underestimating the volume of stable coins. But nonetheless, out of this $41.85 billion, which represents 90.20% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume, Tether USDT accounts for $32.07 billion, followed by Circle USDC at $4.32 billion, and finally Binance BUSD at $3.34 billion. Now guys, let's look at the market cap, 24-hour trading volume, and dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum. The Bitcoin's market cap is $586 billion, followed by Ethereum at $249 billion. The 24-hour trading volume of Bitcoin is looking good, and it is currently at $19.18 billion, followed by Ethereum at $8.99 billion. And the dominance of Ethereum, guys, is definitely on an uptrend, and it is at 19.60%, and Bitcoin's dominance is 46.02%. Now in today's episode, guys, let me very briefly look at the top 5 decentralized apps on Ethereum blockchain protocol. And one thing which I did mention earlier, in the top 5, 3 of them have to do with Uniswap. So the first one is Uniswap version 3. The second one, guys, is a marketplace, and that is Uniswap NFT aggregator. The third one is Uniswap version 2. And the fourth one, guys, surprisingly, is OpenSea. And few months ago, I did talk about OpenSea. The volume was definitely overtaken by Blur, and Blur has gone down, and it is somewhere among the top 10, but it has definitely gone down. And fifth is MetaMask. Now let me also try to look at the top decentralized apps working on Binance BNB, because if you look at Binance BNB's market cap, it is definitely well less than 50% of that of Ethereum, but it is still number 2nd. Now if you look at the top decentralized apps working on Binance BNB, the first one is Hooked, and looks like, guys, this is a social media platform, and it is working only on Binance BNB chain. The second and third one, guys, is PancakeSwap version 3, and the third one is PancakeSwap version 2, and both of them, as you know, are exchanges. And the fourth one, guys, is CyberConnect, and that is a social media protocol that is working on different blockchain protocols, not just on Binance BNB. And the fifth one is TinyTap, and looks like, guys, TinyTap is claiming to be the world's largest library of games created by teachers and played by millions of families. Now, if you're a teacher and if you're a student, let me know if you're using TinyTap, because based on the data, it is the 5th most decentralized app that is currently working under Binance BNB chain. Now, guys, let's look at the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin. It is currently at $30,378, and since the last 24 hours, it has marginally gone up by 3.09%, and since the last 7 days, it is marginally up by 0.55%. And look, guys, there's a massive hearing going on regarding Security Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler, and whatever is happening during that hearing is kind of having an impact positively on the price of Bitcoin and positively on the price of the global cryptocurrency market as well. And Ethereum is at $2,093. Since the last 24 hours, it is marginally up by 0.73%. Since the last 7 days, it is up by 10.44%. Binance BNB coin is staying strong and it is at $342. Since the last 24 hours, it is up by 0.68%. Since the last 7 days, it is up by 5.93%. Then look guys, there is a lot of chaos going on, particularly in the political aspects in the United States of America. And one thing guys which I mentioned several times in my Crypto and Coffee Date podcast, and the big question is Bitcoin apolitical? Now look guys, politics and politicians have a very strong say in the trajectory and directions, and lately more importantly on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as well. And as you know, in the United States of America, you have two parties, the right wing called as Republicans and the left wing called as Democrats. Now so far as my understanding is, Republicans are definitely in favor of Bitcoin, open source, cryptocurrencies and freedom of speech, and most of the Republican candidates are definitely not in favor of central bank digital currencies how it should be. China guys on the other hand is definitely in favor of central bank digital currency, and later on in the episode we'll also talk about how one of the representatives of Republican Party has called Gary Gensler an advocate of CCP, that is China's Communist Party, and guys, Democrats on the other hand are definitely in favor of more control over your money. They are definitely in favor of central bank digital currencies, and lately for some odd reason they're also in favor of being woke, but Democrats or left-wing ideologies are definitely not in favor of Bitcoin, open source, cryptocurrency and freedom of speech. Now look guys, so far as regulations are concerned, they are 100% needed and they're definitely great as long as they don't stifle innovation. Unfortunately, severe regulations with lack of clarity has forced Coinbase's CEO Brian Armstrong to actually indicate that the cryptocurrency exchange would consider moving away from the United States of America, and this is because the regulatory environment for the industry is not becoming clearer. Now what happened is that a few days ago, he did have an interview with former UK Chancellor George Osborne, and he was asked whether he could see Coinbase leaving the United States of America, and he clearly indicated that is definitely a possibility. And CoinDesk guys has a summary of that. Now I did try to check it on YouTube, unfortunately I could not get the full interview, but in case if you do want to read through the article, I would definitely recommend you to read it via CoinDesk. And guys, in that article, it also states that Bittrex has also planned its exit already from the United States of America, and most likely by the end of this month, they are definitely going to be leaving the United States of America. And Bittrex guys is citing the current US regulations and economic environment as a main reason for leaving United States of America. Now look guys, the next thing what I'm going to say is absolutely controversial. Now Gary Gensler is on the verge of going to be fired. Now before I get into what representatives from Republican Party is saying, let me try to give my stance on where Gary Gensler is. Now listen guys, now politically I'm not a massive fan of what Gary Gensler is and which party he represents. Let me try to speak some facts. What I'd really recommend you to do is go to YouTube and watch Gary Gensler's videos in MIT. He was a professor explaining what Bitcoin is and what blockchain technology is. And the fact remains, Gary Gensler is a massive advocate and fan of Bitcoin. He's not necessarily a fan of Ethereum and other blockchain protocols, and I 100% agree to it. Now really I'm sure if you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you would definitely agree to what Gary Gensler is saying. Now listen to this guys, what I'm going to say is absolutely controversial. Bitcoin maximalist will definitely be a fan of what Gary Gensler is saying, and if you actually listen to Gary Gensler's interview, read through his article without cherry-picked information, without edited information, I think you would agree to what Gary Gensler is saying. Now a lot of the cryptocurrency maximalists or so-called cryptocurrency price influencers absolutely above Gary Gensler, which I, to be honest, kind of disagree. And from my political point of view, I should be saying the same thing, but unfortunately, Gary Gensler is saying the right thing, except for his involvement with FTX. I kind of disagree to what everyone is saying regarding Gary Gensler. So once again, guys, go to YouTube, listen to his instructional videos on Bitcoin and blockchain. Now, he's definitely a massive advocate of Bitcoin, but he's definitely not a massive advocate of stable coins. like you should be, because one thing which I mentioned in the past, stablecoin issuers are literally playing the role of a bank. And when we talk about replacing banks, stablecoins unfortunately are just replacing bank, but they have the same role, the same power, and accumulation of wealth. So Gary Gensler is actually fighting against that. And guys, listen, when you look at protocols built on Ethereum, 99.99% are 100% scams. So I kind of agree to him. But so far as his involvement is concerned, what a lot of people are upset about Gary Gensler is that he's not providing clarity and just providing wealth notice in case of, let's say, Coinbase. So that is the only area which I kind of agree to cryptocurrency enthusiasts. Now right now what is going on is they want to kick off Gary Gensler. And right now guys, there is massive drama going on between CFTC and between Security Exchange Commission. So the whole idea is Security Exchange Commission is kind of making decisions, and as of now, it looks like the decisions should not be done by the Security Exchange Commission, but rather should be done on the CFTC. So what happened is that there was a hearing which is available live on YouTube, and Representative Warren Davidson, who's also a Republican, is actually introducing a legislation that removes the chairman of US Security Exchange Commission and replaces the role with an executive director that reports to the board where authorities reside. Now really I'm not sure if legally that is possible, but if you look at it the way it is designed, there is a very high possibility that Gary Gensler could be fired. Now if you do want to find out the official news, now what happened is that earlier today, Paul Grable did actually tweet lack of clarity given by SEC Chair Gary Gensler, and in reply to that tweet is Warren Davidson did actually mention that he's introducing a legislation. Now really I'm not sure if this legislation is going to be introduced and will that thing ever happen. If it does happen, absolutely great. And apart from Warren Davidson, another Republican and Representative Tom Emmer has aggressively attacked Gary Gensler for not being clearer with his rulemaking, and he also said that Gary Gensler was pushing American firms into the hands of CCP, that is Chinese Communist Party. Now what I really recommend you to do is, guys, make sure that you watch the entire interview. Make sure that you do not watch only cherry-picked information. Now it's so critical, guys, when you look at interviews, both from Republican parties and for extreme left-leaning parties, we do our job in looking at information from full source and watching the entire interview. And that way we get a full idea of what is going on. And Tom Emmer, guys, has been aggressively against central bank digital currency as well. So I kind of 100% agree to it. And in my very first Metaverse Everything podcast, I did talk about politicians and politics that are against central bank digital currencies. And that point of time, I very specifically remember that Tom Emmer did actually try to pass a bill that would prevent United States of America to stop issuing central bank digital currencies. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the fate of Gary Gensler is. But once again, guys, what I'd really recommend you to do is not look at clips and cherry-picked information where they are bashing Gary Gensler. And once again, guys, I do not like the party he's representing, but unfortunately what he is speaking is purely facts. And what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, go to the Security Exchange Commission website, read through a lot of the information, go to the YouTube channels, because they do provide a lot of detailed and very short and sweet videos explaining things regarding cryptocurrencies and general investments as well. Now guys, while we talk about politics in US, there's only one president probably in the history who's definitely on the verge of making NFTs great again, and President Donald Trump has dropped more NFTs and the second collection of digital trading cards with tens of thousands of new collectibles is now available for minting. And Decrypt has reported that the second series of Trump digital trading cards spans a total of 47,000 NFTs minted on Polygon, which is an Ethereum sidechain network, with 1,000 of the NFTs held back by the developer and each selling for $99 as with the original December 2022 drop. And look, as President Donald Trump has not been using Twitter for a very long time, but I did check his post on Facebook, and on his Facebook, he did actually mention that based on the second drop, he has probably made roughly around $4 million. And guys, some of the digital trading cards are featuring Trump's digital signature, and this time around, Trump's team isn't offering up as many ancillary benefits, but anyone who purchases 47 of the NFT trading cards will apparently receive a ticket to gala dinner with Trump at his golf club in Florida. And for the Series 1 launch, buyers also received potential benefits like Zoom calls with the greatest president of all time or in-person meet and greet. And listen guys, the second series is built on the theme of the original set, which features Trump depicting a superhero, an astronaut and cowboy. And to be honest, I really like this artwork, and there are also other larger-than-life settings, so definitely check it out. And this time guys, the NFT artwork includes Trump also carrying a championship pro wrestling belt. And if you know guys, President Donald Trump is a massive fan of boxing and a massive fan of MMA and UFC in particular as well. And there are also a couple of other NFTs depicting him as a hunter and wearing firefighting gear as well. And guys, according to data from OpenSea Marketplace, about 5,600 of the 46,000 available NFTs have already been minted so far, and the second price is starting at roughly around 0.06 Ethereum, which equates to roughly around $125. And look guys, these NFTs are definitely on the verge of becoming great again. Now guys, let's discuss some news regarding sweat economy. And some of my old friends guys who are not in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency world, they recently sent me messages asking me about Sweatcoin. Now let me try to give out some information on what the news is all about. Now Oleg Fomenko, who's the co-founder of Sweat Economy, has introduced a one-person, one-voting governance system. So essentially, the vote will take place directly in the dApp's mobile app and will decide how the protocol spends 100 million of its native token called a Sweatcoin. So let me try to give out some information. Now Sweat Economy is claiming to be a decentralized app that incentivizes fitness and healthy lifestyle habits through its native token called a Sweatcoin. And the ticker symbol is Sweat, and the platform rewards users with Sweat tokens for completing various physical activities, which can then be redeemed for a variety of goods within the Sweat Economy ecosystem. And guys, the community of Sweat Economy is currently conducting a community vote to decide how to allocate 100 million Sweat tokens. So it looks like they're letting the community decide, and this is a significant decision that could have a major impact on the token's price and the future development on the platform. Now what makes this vote unique is that each community member has one vote rather than voting power proportional to the governance token holdings, which often leads to a lot of centralization. This also means that even small token holders have an equal say in the decision-making process, which the network's founders believe is more democratic approach than traditional decentralized voting process. Now what are your thoughts guys? I kind of agree to him. And liquid token holders can participate in the vote, but the network's team members, investors, and founders are excluded to ensure a fair and transparent process. And the vote will determine how many tokens are allocated to staking rewards, which incentivizes token holders to hold and stake their tokens, and how many tokens are removed from the circulating supply, potentially reducing the token's inflation rate and increasing its scarcity. Now listen guys, this idea might sound great, but could it be possible that an individual has several wallets and they are able to vote? Most likely that is what is going to happen. Now the vote is expected to be one of the largest government votes in the history of Web3 with 15 million eligible token holders. This highlights the growing importance of a community-driven decision-making process in decentralized finance or DeFi ecosystem. And guys, the vote will take place directly in Sweat Economy mobile app and will last 5 days, closing on the 23rd of April. And guys, after the vote is complete, the network's community will have a clear direction of how the platform will evolve and develop in the future. And look guys, this sounds too good to be true. And based on what I've done research, I definitely am not buying this. But these are my thoughts and opinions on that. So let me know if you're using Sweat tokens and if you do believe in the power of known to earn. And look guys, there are very limited use cases of blockchain technology. Unfortunately, protocols such as Move to Earn will definitely not cut it. Now guys, let's discuss two news from UAE, and the first one is about cryptocurrency exchange Bybit, and they have opened the global headquarters in Dubai. So let me try to give out some information. Now Bybit is a cryptocurrency exchange which was founded in 2018, and they have a headquarters now in Dubai, and the website guys is bybit.com. If you go to the website, what I really like is that they pride on three things. That is unparalleled customer support 24/7, and they are available and active globally in 160 countries with 16 languages, and they also have their own Bybit wallet. And this, guys, is the power of having a centralized entity. And Bybit, guys, is the third most visited cryptocurrency exchange globally and second largest in the MENA region, and has opened its headquarters in Dubai. And the company plans to hire 100 people and has obtained in-principle approval from VARA, that is Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, and they also plan to get full license in Q2 of 2023, and looks like they just did. And the CEO Ben Zoom plans to hire massively in the UAE and the region and collaborate with local universities for hackathon and internships. And Bybit, guys, will move 80 people from Singapore and Hong Kong to Dubai and hire in marketing, community, business development, and other departments. And as you know, guys, Dubai is a preferred choice for crypto companies, as the Emirate has attracted some of the world's biggest companies in the cryptocurrency space, and the company expects to double its trading volume in the MENA region this particular year. And Dubai, guys, is the third largest crypto market in the Middle East, Africa, South Asia, also called as MESA, and hosts hundreds of crypto-related events every year. And the Dubai government has also announced a golden visa for 100,000 coders to attract the best talent to the local market. And earlier in the year, guys, VARA issued a comprehensive virtual asset framework built on principles of economic sustainability and cross-border financial security. And the CEO believes, guys, that Dubai, being one of the most progressive digital asset hubs in MENA and the world, is optimally positioned to capture opportunities in the crypto sector. And the digital economy is advancing rapidly, and crypto and blockchain technology will be the mainstay and the connective tissues. And guys, if you know Dubai's infrastructure, international talent, and has a vision to make it an attractive location for the companies in the crypto sector, and Bybit's expansion to Dubai is part of its global expansion strategy. And Bybit's move to Dubai indicates the growing interest of companies in the crypto sector, particularly in the MENA region, and the fact that they plan to collaborate with local universities for hackathon and internship will also help develop the local talent pool, and the recruitment plans will provide job opportunities in the region's growing crypto sector. And finally, guys, Bybit's projected doubling of trading volume in the MENA region this year is a positive sign for growth of the crypto sector in the region. Now look, guys, this news might sound great, but lately what I'm noticing is Dubai is turning out to be a red ocean, which is great from a consumer's point of view, but from a business's point of view, it just means that there's severe competition, there's a lot of chaos going on. And what are your thoughts on Bybit having its operation in a blue ocean that is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? So it's going to be really interesting to see how and when the news develops. Now, guys, let's discuss the second and the massive news, and this is to do with UAE security regulator. And this news, guys, is a massive news, not just in Dubai, UAE, and Middle East, but also in the cryptocurrency world. And the news is that UAE security regulator is starting to accept license applications from crypto firms. So let me try to give out bits and pieces of information. So the website for the Security and Commodities Authority is sca.gov.ae. That is S for sugar, C for Charlie, A for alpha.gov.ae. And the UAE Securities and Commodities Authority will start accepting license applications from companies looking to provide crypto-related services in the country. Now, this mandatory license regime applies to all companies seeking to provide such services in the industry, except for those already licensed in financial free zone. And the SEC took on the role of regulating the sector earlier this year, following a decision by the UAE Council of Ministers last year to regulate the crypto sector. Guys, Dubai and Abu Dhabi already have licensing frameworks for crypto firms in force, with the local industry embracing Dubai's recently unveiled regime. And companies looking to operate in Emirate of Dubai must obtain a license from its Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, and in Dubai it is called as VARA, in addition to SEC approval. And guys, this is absolutely critical piece of information, because the licensing regime was approved by the SEA on Monday, and firms seeking authorizations will have to demonstrate operational efficiency and flexibility and meet certain operational standards. And few days ago, guys, I did talk about Binance, where they were trying to delay submitting the documents to Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority. So it's really critical that you truly understand what the requirements are. And amendments have been made to Virtual Asset Rulebook from 2022, and financial activities like brokerage and custody of virtual assets have been added to the legislations, and a new category of virtual asset service provider has been added to the legislations, and companies will need to have headquarters in the UAE to conduct their businesses according to one of the legal firms approved by local authorities concerned with commercial licenses. Now look, guys, what I'd really recommend you to do is get in touch with a lawyer and try to get some legal advice, because the regulation applies to all virtual asset service providers in the country, including those offering initial coin offerings. Companies offering crypto-related services will need to provide details of their ownership structure and the management team. They will also be required to maintain a certain level of capital depending on the nature and scope of the business, and companies must have a clear and transparent system of governance and risk management. And guys, the regulation also applies to crypto wallet service providers and crypto exchanges, and this goes back to the point in comparison to US, because in US right now there is no clarity of information, but UAE is definitely taking the lead on that, and the SEC said that the aim of the regulation is to provide investors with a clear and safe environment in which to invest in crypto assets, and the move is part of UAE's wider efforts to position itself as a global hub for blockchain and crypto industries. So definitely beautiful and powerful stuff. So those were the newscasts from Crypto and Coffee a Day from Blockchain DXB. In case if you have any feedback or suggestions, please drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. Check out my website www.blockchaindxb.com, and also check out my other website area2071.com that talks everything about Metaverse. And guys, if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes, it's going to be an Ask Me Anything series where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So let's kickstart with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. I have a question by Rahul who asks, what about STEPN? What are your thoughts about STEPN? Thank you so very much, Rahul, for this question. Now, there was massive hype about STEPN, particularly during the whole COVID era when people were not able to move around the house. And that was the time, Rahul, there was massive hype about STEPN, which is STEPN, and they claim to be moved to on. Now, unfortunately, Rahul, I do think that it is massive hype, and according to me, it does fall under the scam category. Now, very specifically, remember, in order to be part of the STEPN app, which is claiming to be a decentralized app, you had to buy an NFT, and I believe the price of each NFT that you had to buy in order to be part of the move to on protocol was roughly around $600, and this to me is an absolutely big no. Now imagine trying to spend $600 in order to start using Facebook or in order to start using Instagram. It just does not make any sense. It looks like there was a founding team, a centralized entity that collected that $600. Now really I'm not sure what the status of STEPN app is. Now I do remember that they had very small communities spread across different regions, and they were definitely popular. Now just being popular does not mean that they're absolutely right. And I very specifically remember, Rahul, that Laura Shin, one of the greatest podcasters, did actually interview one of the key members from the STEPN app. And unfortunately, the lady who she was interviewing, or the interviewee, had no clue on what she was talking about. And look, Rahul, one thing which I've often said, when you talk about blockchain technology, there are very limited use cases. And this kind of goes back to some of the points that Gary Gensler is standing against. Now, once again, Rahul, I'm not a fan of Gary Gensler's political affiliations, but he's speaking the truth. And when you talk about STEPN, when you talk about the limited use case of blockchain, you truly need to understand the blockchain trilemma problem. So essentially, all of these protocols that claim that they're offering scalability or if they're offering decentralization, they're compromising on either one of the three things on blockchain trilemma, that is centralization, scalability, and security. Now, in case of STEPN, I'm pretty much sure that they're compromising heavily on centralization, and based on my understanding, even Sweatcoin, which I mentioned earlier, is kind of compromising on centralization. So often, there is a centralized entity, they compromise it, because of which they are able to offer high scalability, or they often compromise on security. Now, these are my thoughts. Now, while I was preparing for this podcast on Sweatcoin, Rahul, I also looked at another move to on protocol called as Fight, and this new one called as Fight Out is aiming to improve the health and lifestyle. When what they're planning to do is they're letting users revolutionizing the fighting industry. Now all of these things sounds like a gimmick. Now based on my understanding on this new protocol called as Fight Out, what it will do is it will let users, let's say, compete and earn rewards in move to own ecosystem as well. And Fight Out is kind of similar to what Steppen is doing. They also have an NFT aspect attached to it, and it allows users to create an NFT avatars that reflects their progress in real time. Now all of these things, unfortunately, Rahul, do not follow the ethos of open blockchain. It's so critical that we truly understand the blockchain trilemma problem, that is centralization, scalability, and security. So going back to your question, what I think about Steppen, unfortunately, it does fall under the hype category, and personally, I could be wrong, it does fall under the scam category, and personally, I wouldn't be keen on it, but once again, it is absolutely not a financial advice. So that's all for today, guys. When you ask me anything serious on blockchain DXB, in case if you do have any feedback or suggestions, please drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com, and also check out my website www.blockchaindxb.com, and also check out my website area2071.com. And guys, if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. And remember, guys, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes in the Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And thanks so much for listening, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.